Lesson 1. 3 things never come back, and you are wasting all 3 of them right now. Time, words, and opportunity. Once gone, no power can pull them back. But the greatest human tragedy is not losing them, but wasting them unconsciously. We kill time with procrastination, destroy words with impulsive emotion, and miss opportunity through fear or laziness. It happens quietly, daily, repeatedly, until regret arrives too late. When consequences finally demand payment without mercy or appeal, no warning arrives, no refund, no return. Time does not move fast. You spend it carelessly. Every hour you live without intention is a piece of life stolen. But you are the thief. Words are the same. One thoughtless sentence can destroy credibility built over decades. One sentence not spoken at the right moment can cost a relationship, a door, a future. Silence and noise both carry consequences you will eventually pay. Whether you notice them today or tomorrow, choose carefully. Always. Opportunity does not come to the best, but to those awake enough to recognize it. And while you hesitate, it already belongs to someone else, moving forward without you, without apology, delay. Action, starting today. Live as if every day is your final trial. Speak less, but speak right. Do the most important thing before the day ends, without excuses, hesitation, or tomorrow promises left unkept behind. Lesson 2. Peace or anxiety does not live in circumstances, but lives in your own mind and heart. If you are depressed, chances are you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are drifting into the future. But when you are truly peaceful, your mind is in the present. Sadly, most people do not live in the present. They wander through moments that no longer exist or have never truly arrived at all, stealing awareness from their lives every single day long. Past mistakes cannot be fixed, yet many people drag them out daily to punish themselves. Old errors, careless words, missed chances. The future has not happened, yet they pay in advance with sleepless nights, tension, and vague fear. Meanwhile, the present, the only moment they can act, is quietly abandoned and left unused, powerless, empty, and ignored again, again, again. Each passing hour, each breathing moment lost forever, to distraction and delay, alone, today, right now. Peace is not a life without problems. Peace is the ability to refuse problems, control over your inner world. When you master your thoughts, you master your reactions. And when you master your reactions, the outside world loses its power to break, bend, or destroy you. Slowly, completely, finally, forever. Inside and out. At last. For good now. No one can give you peace from outside. No money, status, or relationship can guarantee calm. Peace is an inner skill, And that skill grows only when you return to the present moment. Again, deliberately, patiently, with courage, honesty, focus, discipline, and quiet attention each day. Alone, within now. Action. Whenever your mind spirals, stop and ask one simple question. In the next 10 minutes, what specific action can I take? When you return to action, you automatically return to the present, and peace follows. Arrives, settles, and stays. Quietly, steadily, firmly, without force, without noise, without effort. At last, here. Lesson 3. If you want to fix your life, do not start by fixing other people. If this lesson touches you, comment number 1 right now. Human beings suffer from a very common disease, abandoning their own field to pull weeds from someone else's land. We judge, criticize, nitpick, and advise not because we are better, but because seeing other people's flaws is easier than facing our own shortcomings honestly. The truth is harsh, but also deeply freeing. You cannot change anyone. You can talk. You can advise. You can get angry. But if they do not want to change, every effort is meaningless. The only thing you truly control is yourself, your thoughts, actions, discipline, and daily choices. When you grow stronger, the world is forced to change how it treats you. When you become better, judgment naturally loses its value. When you live right, you do not need explanations. Every battle aimed outward is meaningless if you are losing the war inside. Those who defeat others may be praised, but those who defeat themselves are the ones who cannot be defeated. History is not written by habitual critics, but by people who quietly train themselves every single day. Action. Today. Instead of pointing out one flaw in someone else, choose to fix one bad habit of your own, even a small one. This is not just personal change. It is a real revolution of your life. Lesson 4. True strength is softness. The rigid will break. Water has no fixed shape, yet it can wear down stone. What seems weakest often lasts longer than what appears strongest. In nature and in life, the one who can bend is the one who survives the longest. Many people confuse stubbornness with courage and obsession with conviction. But the truth is this: stubbornness keeps you stuck, while conviction means changing the path without losing the destination. A wise person is not someone who is always right, but someone who knows when adjustment is necessary. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they are too proud to learn, too rigid to accept, too afraid of mistakes to try new methods. They cling to their ego, to past glory, and fail to notice that the world has already changed. Those who refuse to adapt will be eliminated, not because they are bad, but because they remain still in a constantly shifting world. Flexibility is not an option. It is a condition for survival. Action. Today. Try listening instead of arguing. Try adjusting instead of resisting. Being soft at the right moment does not make you weaker. It makes you unbreakable. This lesson is not about surrender or fear, but about clarity, awareness, and quiet strength. Choosing progress over pride, growth over comfort, and resilience over fragile certainty when pressure, change, and uncertainty inevitably arrive in real-life moments every single day without excuses. Lesson 5. Ambition is not wrong, but not knowing enough is spiritual suicide. If you have ever felt tired because of the feeling never truly enough, comment number 1. Ambition itself is not evil. It pushes people forward, beyond limits, building something great and meaningful over time. But ambition without a stopping point becomes a pit that devours the spirit from the inside. There is no disaster greater than bottomless greed growing silently. There is no poverty more frightening than not knowing you are enough already. A person with very little who knows enough is rich inside. A person with very much who always feels lacking is miserable within. Society teaches you to be more, faster, higher, but does not teach you when to stop, when to soy, when to breathe slowly. The result is a generation materially complete, yet spiritually hollow and restless. They run endlessly without knowing where they are going at all. They achieve one thing, then immediately feel empty and rush toward another goal. Knowing enough does not make you fall back or shrink. Knowing enough helps you not be enslaved by desire and pressure. When you are no longer pulled along by endless craving, you finally have real freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to enjoy. Freedom to live fully. Action. Write down 3 things you have today that in the past you once dreamed of deeply. Look straight at that list before chasing the next thing, to remind yourself that you have come very far already. Lesson 6. Leadership is not about giving orders. It is about setting the example. No one truly follows someone who only talks. People may obey out of fear, but they choose to follow willingly only when they see alignment between words and actions. Power can force compliance in the short term, but example is what creates lasting influence over time and shapes trust, respect, behavior, culture, belief, direction, momentum, consistency, character, credibility, meaning, impact, legacy. A great leader does not need to shout, show off authority, or impose control. They enter a room and their energy speaks for itself. They work harder than others. They take responsibility before placing blame. They stay disciplined even when no one is watching. That is why others want to follow them, not because they must, but because they believe. Respect, admire, trust, commit, learn, grow, improve, align, persist, contribute, perform, lead, evolve, succeed, together. Leadership does not exist only in companies or politics. You are leading in your family, your friendships, your work, and even your own life. Children do not listen to lessons. They copy how you live. Employees do not follow slogans. They follow the standards you allow. Enforce, model, tolerate, reward, repeat, protect, normalize, signal, sustain, shape, reinforce, accept, daily. If you talk about discipline but live carelessly, you are not leading, you are creating noise. If you speak about ethics but act dishonestly, you are destroying trust. Who you are matters more than every speech you have ever given, promised, posted, repeated, shared, defended, justified, explained, claimed, delivered. Action. Before asking others to change, ask yourself, have I lived in line with what I expect? To start with yourself, that is the first step of real leadership. Ownership, integrity, courage, clarity, consistency, responsibility, growth, example, influence, impact, begins. Lesson 7. Failure teaches you more than victory 1,000 times, over and again. Victory is sweet, but it is dangerous. It easily makes people complacent, asleep on their glory, believing they are already good enough. Meanwhile, failure does not allow you to hide. It forces you to face the truth, where you were wrong, what you lack, and how you must change from here forward starting today, without excuses or comforting illusions at all. It can be said that 1,000 lessons live inside failure, but only one lesson exists in victory, that you won. Failure strips illusions, forges humility, and teaches you things no book can ever fully deliver. Those who mature fastest are not the ones who win most, but the ones who fall often and rise the right way. Every time they stand back up again stronger and wiser than before that moment. People who fear failure are people who cut their own wings before flying. They choose safety, choose familiarity, choose staying still in place, then wonder why their life goes nowhere at all. The truth is, no failure is meaningless. Only people who refuse to learn from it and repeat the same mistakes again and again. Great people in history all share one thing. They failed many times, but never allowed failure to define them. They used it as data, not a verdict on their worth or future direction at all, ever. Action. Next time you fail, do not ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is the exact lesson here? And what will I do differently starting today with courage, clarity, and disciplined follow through from this moment? Lesson 8. Control your thoughts. You control destiny. Everything in your life begins from one single place alone, the mind itself. Thoughts create words. Words then lead to actions. Actions, when repeated again and again, slowly become habits. Habits shape character over time, and character ultimately decides destiny. No step is ever skipped in this chain. No one destroys your life faster and more completely than negative thoughts repeated day after day without awareness. When you constantly tell yourself you are weak, powerless, and not good enough, your mind believes it and begins to act out that exact script faithfully. Your life does not collapse because of circumstances alone. It collapses because of how you interpret and explain circumstances. If the mind is full of trash, life cannot be clean or clear. If your head is filled only with fear, doubt, and endless complaint, you cannot expect a bright or hopeful future. The most dangerous thing is this: many negative thoughts are not truth at all, but they repeat long enough, consistently enough, for you to believe they are truth. Controlling thoughts does not mean forcing fake positivity or pretending everything is fine. It means recognizing them clearly, not feeding them, and not identifying yourself with toxic and destructive thoughts. Action. Observe your thoughts the way you observe weather patterns in the sky. Dark clouds may come and go, but you are not that gloomy sky itself. You have the right to choose what is allowed to stay inside your mind. Every moment you notice, you regain control, clarity, and quiet power over your own inner world and future direction forward. Lesson 9. Whoever makes you angry is controlling you. If you are easily triggered by other people's words or actions, comment number 1. The moment you get angry, you hand control to someone else. The person who angers you loses nothing. You lose self-control, clarity, and dignity. They press a button. You react. That is enough for them to win. Anger feels fast and loud, but it blinds judgment and drains energy. Control yourself, and you control the situation. Lose yourself, and someone else decides your next move, your next word, your next mistake. Discipline is quiet strength, built in moments when nobody claps. But everything important is decided there without noise, approval, or attention from the crowd watching you closely. Today, alone inside. Many people think anger is power. In reality, anger is a sign that you are being led. A truly strong person stays calm when provoked, stays silent when insulted, and keeps character when tested. Forgiveness is not because the other person deserves it. Forgiveness is because you do not want to keep carrying emotional weight caused by others. When you no longer react on instinct, you take back ownership of yourself. Silence at the right time is not weakness. It is the highest form of counterattack, because it cuts off the energy the provocateur is seeking. Action. Next time you are insulted or provoked, pause for a few seconds before reacting. Breathe, observe, and remember this: calmness is the greatest victory you can claim. Lesson 10. Simplicity, patience, compassion. 3 foundations of a life truly worth living for every human being. Ultimately, no matter how much philosophy you read, no matter how many goals you chase, every path returns to 3 core values: simplicity, patience, and compassion. These are not vague ideas, but the foundations of a steady, grounded human life that remains strong when circumstances shift. Simplicity keeps you from being swallowed by possessions and desire. When you need too many things to feel happy, you become fragile. Living simply does not make you poorer. It helps you focus on what truly matters most and protects your energy from endless, empty, wanting cycles every single day. Patience is the strength of those who walk long roads. No lasting achievement arrives quickly. People quit halfway, not because they are weak, but because they cannot tolerate the feeling of slow progress that tests faith, discipline, and endurance. Compassion helps you avoid losing your humanity in an increasingly harsh world. It does not weaken you. It prevents you from becoming the very thing you despise, even under pressure, anger, and exhaustion. The strongest person is not the one who wins many battles, but the one who keeps a clean heart in a hardened world still. Action. Slow your pace by one beat, less in quantity, deeper in quality, and more honest with yourself. That is how you build a life worth living, with intention, courage, patience, and quiet daily consistency. These 10 lessons are not meant for you to read and nod along casually. They are a wake-up call for those who are still living halfway, letting days drift by unconsciously, emotions leading the way, and fear quietly deciding a life instead of you. Time does not wait for your awakening. Opportunity is not patient with hesitation. And fate shows no mercy to those who refuse responsibility for themselves with their own lives. Choices, actions, and consequences every single day without exception. You do not suffer from lack of luck. You suffer from lack of awareness. You are not anxious because life is too hard, but because your mind is untrained. You are not controlled by others. You hand over that power whenever you react instinctively, whenever you blame, whenever you delay what must be done. Your life today is the direct result of how you think, speak, act, and discipline yourself during very ordinary days that quietly shaped habits, decisions, priorities, character, direction, outcomes, patterns, limits, courage, weakness, focus, effort, consistency, daily. No one is coming to save you, and that is the good news, because when no one saves, you are forced to grow stronger. When you start fixing yourself instead of fixing others, leading by example instead of commanding, flexible instead of stubborn, learning from failure instead of complaining, you are not just changing a habit. You are changing the trajectory of your entire life forward, upward, deliberately, consciously, permanently, starting. Peace, freedom, strength, and meaning are not far away. They live inside small choices each day, choosing purpose, choosing action over delay, choosing to master the mind instead of being dragged, choosing enough so desire cannot enslave you in moments, habits, breaths, response, priorities, discipline, courage, restraint, clarity, patience, awareness, direction, effort, repetition, ownership, responsibility, commitment, daily, always,